This driver was hailed as one of the lightest drivers to ever been created, even keeping up with today's driver technology. I just bought it because it looked quite good. Guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. It's Simon down here at Burford Golf Lab, and in my hands I have arguably one of the best looking, most advanced drivers to ever come out in the 90s. So let's see how it does. So before I get into this video, I'm going to be giving this driver away as I normally do. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, leave this video a like, and comment down below what is the best driver you've ever had in the bag, old or new. So background check, there's not that much information on this driver, and to be honest, my community post when I posted literally just the face of this driver, which is a bit suspect, and we'll get into that, you gave me more information about this driver than the internet did. Now, the reviews on this driver when it came out were very good, and actually the company itself, Goldwyn, which has gone bust, did quite a good job. I presume Goldwyn is the company and AVDP system is the actual model and make of the driver. 10 degrees, aluminium, milled, lightest driver of its time, and to be honest, it's as light or feels as light as the majority of drivers that are out today on the market. However, I do briefly want to touch up on light drivers and swinging them faster, and why actually that could be detrimental to your game. So, as we know, ball speed has pretty much been as good as it can possibly get over the last 5 to 10 years. And a lot of manufacturers now are saying these are the fastest drivers you can swing because they're so light and so aerodynamic, and there is some truth in that. I'm not saying there isn't. However, gaining 5 miles an hour of club head speed, which is a massive gain, by the way, just by getting new technology, doesn't necessarily mean maximum distance. You need to have the right launch and the right spin rate, and then yes, that 5 miles an hour input into that equation will equal more distance. However, if you've got a 12-degree driver that performs beautifully, 14 degrees launch, 2000 spin, consistent, forgiving, and then you upgrade to a lighter shaft, a lighter head, and you now swing that club 5 miles an hour faster, all of a sudden that 2000 spin is going to jump up to 2006 or 2007, and actually you're going to lose distance over the hole. Now that is why fitting is important, and getting that combination of the right loft and shaft gives you that added club head speed, and then keeps that number of perfect launch, perfect spin. You're going to gain 20-25 yards. Don't just buy a driver because it's the fastest, quickest thing, because actually you could get a driver fitted for you, well, you can't at the moment, but you can get a driver fitted for you 10 years ago that produces those perfect numbers. Yes, you're going to swing it slower, but ball speed, spin rate, launch are going to be perfect. Therefore, the ball's going to go further, which is the aim of golf. But this is a very light driver, very small head, and it looks unbelievable in my eyes. I think it looks great. Now, I'm showing you a lot of this because, well, let's say the face and the crown of the driver does look a bit suspect. It might not be everyone's cup of tea. Personally, I think it looks great, but that's because I like quirkiness, I like unusual. I've tested every driver under the sun, and this is something a bit different. Now, the only reason I think this company did go bust because they produce great drivers and a lot of people like them, especially the reviews that I saw online. They went down the market of spending and charging a lot of money for these heads, like it's the new big best thing. Arguably some of these drivers were coming out at $450-500, and I think that's what ruined them, because as we all know, companies that start charging an excessive amount of money for equipment don't necessarily go down that well. Even if you look at today's market, we've seen a massive trend this year, TaylorMade, Mizuno copying the same model as Cobra and dropping that price. Same technology, same equipment, great feel, great sound, but dropping that price from what they were the previous years. PXG dropped their price. They have to keep competitive, and unfortunately I think this at the time, I'm no expert, and obviously I don't know the ins and outs, but I think that's why this driver company and manufacturer went bust. So how much did I buy this driver for? £24.95. Oh, and £5 delivery. So £30 all in all. And to be honest, when I said to you guys, how much did I spend it on? A lot of you are going 20 quid, 18 quid. I thought I got a bargain. A lot of you are going, you've already paid too much if you spent over this. But I think for £30, something a bit classic. Now, this isn't going to be the world's best driver in today's market. However, what I want to see and test is how good is it compared, and something a bit unusual. Is it forgiving? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? I mean, there's not much technology going in the back of this. Aluminium milled, that's about it. That's all you got. And obviously aluminium's very light material. Obviously it's got patent pending, if you can see that on the hosel there. I don't think that patent ever got pended. And obviously in terms of shaft, regular flex. So for me, I'm not going to get the world's best drive because it's going to spin too much. But let's see what ball speeds we can get. Let's give my feedback and see how this performs with today's, importantly, today's golf ball. Let's see what this 20-year-old aluminium driver can really do with zero technology in the head. No weights, no sliding adjustments, no carbon. Let's see what kind of ball speeds we can get out of this thing. I've hit that quite high off the face. So that is why it's gone a very high. Oh wow, still got 300 yards out of it though. 315, 168 ball speed. I mean, I'd take it. Numbers are good, but you can see I've hit basically the roof of the driver, 17 degrees launch angle. Spin rate quite low though. Interesting. So after giving this driver a few hits, here's exactly what I came up with. What number one, I couldn't tell when I hit out the middle. It's just like one block of deadness. Like soft. I mean, I couldn't tell if I hit out in the middle or the toe or the heel, which I don't think is necessarily a good or bad thing. Just I got no feedback from it. So it's very difficult to gauge when I'm hitting the middle of the face or slightly off the heel or off the toe. However, in terms of forgiveness, it kind of went forward with all of them because it was so low spinning. The majority of my drives, and I know obviously heads are a bit deeper now, obviously longer. The majority of my drives I hit was just off this top line. Now that could be down to my technique, but if I'm trying to hit a long ball with a standard drive, a standard loft, right here is where I want it because it basically puts out this high launch, low spin knuckleball, which just goes 20, 30 yards further than the majority of your drives. When you obviously hit them out the middle or the heel, that's when they start producing too much spin. Now, I started going after the ball. Now, after a few swings in, and obviously this is performing much better than the majority of drivers of its era. The majority of drivers that I hit don't even get to 300 yards, whereas this was comfortably getting up to 300 yards. Even though the ball speed was lower than other drivers I've tested. Now, I don't know if that's me early in the morning or gym session last night. I'm just not swinging it fast enough. But this is where my point is proven. I wasn't hitting the ball as fast as I normally would. It wasn't getting up to the 180s. It wasn't getting up to 185. However, my max drive came out about 321 yards. And that was with just a standard swing. I tried and absolutely killed it. I gave it the long drive treatment. Got that left heel moving. Vertical thrust, the lot. It didn't help that I didn't find the middle very often. Again, I didn't know where it was. But when I did hit them, unfortunately, I'm just getting too much spin. I'm getting too much launch. So even if I did catch it at 185, it's going nowhere. It's just going to balloon and come down. Whereas as soon as I started just giving it the normal playing swing, not only did my ball speed increase, because actually I'm finding the middle more often, launch was better, spin rate was better. Therefore, I got a 321 yard drive with something that cost me £30 off eBay and is 20 years old. So how light is this driver? It's pretty light, and if you put it on a scale, it's going to come out quite light. If you put it up against a driver 2020, it's going to be pretty close to, in terms of the total weight of the driver, it's not going to be that far off. Does that make a difference to your swing, however? As soon as you start swinging your driver at 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, swing weighting, tempo, rhythm, timing is the key. And to be honest, I'd rather you swing it 10 miles an hour slower and give us optimum numbers, because that's going to give you much greater distance and consistency and dispersion than swinging something 10 miles faster and having one ball out of 10 go a mile, but then the rest like over there or 30 yards in front of you or shanked or in the trees. You know what I'm talking about. So yes, it's light. And yes, a lot of the drivers out in the market today are light. But make sure you don't sacrifice lightness and clubhead speed for the main principles of a driver. The other interesting point is that this is one of the lowest spinning drivers I've hit in quite a long time, considering, by the way, it's 10 degrees with a regular flex shaft. So regular flex shaft, 10 degrees, produced one of the lowest spinning numbers for my clubhead speed, i.e. 120, I've hit in a long time. Which just means that this head is being delivered at the ball relatively well for my clubhead speed than, let's say, a brand new driver X-Stiff 8 degrees would. I'd have to do a lot more testing to see why that is, but sometimes there's always that club that you pick up and you go, wow, this feels good, and you hit it and it goes a mile and you're like, I don't know why I hit my rescue so much further than my 3 wood, or I don't know why I hit my 3 wood so much further than my driver. It's because the ball doesn't know what it's being hit by. So if it's coming out a certain mile an hour, certain launch angle, certain spin, that is how far the ball's going to go. And that's why I was quite impressed with this, and to potentially why majority of people said this is one of their favourite drivers, or is way above or way ahead of its time, because obviously we didn't have radars and data, is because if it's launching high and coming out low in terms of low spin, it's going to go further than the majority of the stuff out in the market, and it probably would go further than the majority of stuff in the next 10 years in the market, until we got data and radars and realised actually that's why this goes a lot further than a lot of its current competitors at that time. So there we have it, 321 yards with this beauty, and I do think it looks really good. It does remind me of a classic Japanese manufactured driver in its actual design. Face is a bit suspect, and to be honest, there's no sweet spot, or it's just a whole dead zone, but it produces. I would take 321 out on the golf course all day long. Guys, thank you ever so much for watching. As always, leave this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you are new. Catch you guys later.